Okay, I'll be down. Please. Good boy. Yeah. Good job. You stay there. Stop sniffing. Hi. Hey, but sit. Sit. No. Sit. Sit down. Sit. Sit. Hi. Good boy. Yeah. But can you sit down too? Sit. Good. Settle. Okay. Everyone ready? You ready to podcast? Huh? Oh, nope. Okay. Bye bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hear Her Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Jennifer, and I am a knitter, crocheter, quilter, sewist, and all-around multi-craftual person located in Baltimore, Maryland, with my partner and two miniature schnauzers and two black cats. Here on my little podcast, we'll hear all about what I'm knitting, how it's going. Maybe no, don't jump on the window, dude. Hey, please. Lots about my pets. If I have them hanging out, can you sit down? Hi. All right. Well, I think we're gonna have to put them somewhere else. We'll be right back, guys. Down. Sit. 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 Really? Okay. Let's see how this works. Anyway, here I talk a lot about my cozy knitting projects and things I do to make them more accessible to me as a disabled knitter, and maybe things like what projects might be good hospital or doctor's office knitting. Fortunately, I've had a little bit too much experience with that lately. You gonna sit down? Hey, sit down. No, don't eat my dress form. Down, down, really, down, down. Settle. Thank you. You'll behave, okay? I thought this was a good idea. Maybe I was wrong. Anyway, so let's get started. First of all, happy May. It is May. What day in May? It is May 8th today. It is a Thursday. I had high hopes of getting into some sort of podcasting with them, and unfortunately, we just had another string of really bad luck. Like, we've just had a tough year. I sort of mentioned this on and off, but yeah, I will put where you can jump to if you don't want to hear about live talk, but live talk will come first because it kind of interrupted my knitting. So my mother-in-law died on Christmas Eve, and then we had a memorial and just family stuff. But you need to go downstairs. Okay, so we had family. We had to be with family, I guess. Like, it was very important to me and to everyone involved that we all be together and celebrate my mother-in-law's life. And it was deeply needed, I think. I'm glad we did that. And then I had a birthday, and I talked a little bit about that, but the week of my birthday, our senior schnauzer started having just a lot more pain, a lot more, like, had a harder time managing his care. We had to let him go over the Rainbow Bridge on April 1st, and that was heart wrenching. Honestly, like, I've had both situations, right? So we've had animals die suddenly, unexpectedly. We've had animals die suddenly due to age and having to make the choice in the moment for them. And then this is the first time we've ever had hospice in-home hospice, pet care, and just management for like a week, and like just trying to give him the best week we could. I'll put in a little video of the last week with him, and he just had wonderful moments and also really hard moments, and he didn't want me to be away from him at all, and that was really difficult because we have 4 other pets, and like I just wasn't able to do much. And so during that time, I spent most of my time crocheting because I also was managing like a lot of in and taking him out every like 15 minutes to half an hour. It was hard. So I couldn't knit very easily because the way I knit is I have a hard time putting it down if I'm not done with a row. Otherwise, I get confused very easily. So I did switch back to my childhood craft of crochet, and I spent the last 3 weeks with him, just crocheting, working on this project that I will talk about a little bit at the end of our day. So then that happened, and then a couple weeks after that, I ended up in the hospital for emergency surgery, and I've mentioned before that I'm chronically ill, and so kind of it's related to that. It's becoming a thing, I guess. So yeah, so I had to be in the hospital. I was in the hospital for about a week. I had emergency surgery and have to go back for surgery again next week. And yeah, like it's been tough. I'm not able to do very much. I'm struggling to sit upright. I don't feel well, and so I'm hoping that after my next surgery that I will start to get back to feeling more human. But I have been able to knit. My knitting has been a little bit slowed down, so I will talk a little bit about what I've done and like what I finished. Yeah, so which is the Kayalunia Sweater test knit by Michele. So this pattern does not seem to be out yet. I don't have any information about when it's going to come out. It is my first ever circular yoke, and also that's my first ever colorwork sweater as well. So initially I knit this because I was desperate for the Caribbea's Kintra sweater to come out, and I kind of went into Yarn Pond and looked to see if there were any other like top-down colorwork sweaters that caught my fancy, and this one did. So this is like I said, it's a circular yoke. It's top-down. I knit this 2 pattern. I knit this to the sweater length pattern, not the crop pattern, but it's still pretty short. I think I personally will probably alter this a bit and make it longer. But yeah, so I knit this. Kayalunia it's the color work is in the style of a Polish lace pattern, and I'm half Polish, so part of why this really called to me was I was very curious about just more things to do with my heritage. So this color part of the pattern I knit in slack yarn, I believe mostly slack yarn, that I had received as part of a Christmas Advent like scrap swap that I did around Christmas this year, and I put mostly blues and purples. The background is just a cream colored sock. I believe it's a DK weight. And it's like a natural yarn color. So yeah, but all of the color work is scrap yarn. And so I had a little bit of trouble figuring out the amounts, but I will write them down below exactly how much of each scrap of each yarn I used. But it was really fun test bit. I really enjoyed it. And The steel gray is Valley Yarns DK in the color steel gray. So my only real, I think the sleeves are a bit short. I think this is also probably a main thing because my color work here on the sleeve got really tight for some reason, and I think that's messing with the length of the arm. So it is very much something I did wrong. It is not has nothing to do with the pattern. When it comes out, everyone else's patterns were adorable, and I believe that this will be a really lovely, fun sweater if you are into the color top down circular yoke style. One cool thing. So I learned a lot making this sweater, but one of the first, what's it called? New skills that I learned was I learned the increase, the right and left lifted increase on the yoke, on the circular yoke up here. And I think that looks really nice, and I'm very excited to use that in other patterns. So this one, I knit the extra small, I believe. Yes, which is a 35.5 inch bust, and the pattern calls for 4 inches of positive ease. And I normally measure at a 34-inch bust, but there's definitely at least 2 to 3 inches of ease in here. So I knit this on a US8 or a 5.5 millimeter needle, and my main color, I used 3 skeins of Valley Yarn Superwash DK, and I do not know specific length for this part of it, but I will look in my project notes and write them out specifically because I'm pretty sure I weighed everything. So this is my first finished object, and I will put a little bit of fuel in so you can see how it looks. It is definitely short. I'm wearing with a very high-waisted slip skirt, so it looks nice. And I'm pulling, again, I pull up the sleeves of it because they're like this big length that I don't like on me. But that is very much a me problem. I messed up something somewhere, right? So the other definitely finished object that I have that I might have mentioned in my last podcast is I have finished my Palm Springs tank by Knit California. So this tank I'm not going to put on because I'll put pictures in for you. But I knit the extra small specifically for a friend, and I am not an extra small. So I'm a 34-inch bust, which I've said before. And the extra small is a 28 to 30-inch bust with I think it has 6 inches of negative ease, and definitely too small for me. No, wait, it's 4 to 6 inches of negative ease. So this one, I knit the extra small on 3.5 millimeter needles in Huntington in Valley Yarns Huntington, which is a fingering weight in the color Lemongrass. And I thought it was cool because Leslie and I have a smaller gauge. So the first time I've ever knit something where I didn't have to go up like at least one full needle size. I did go down a little bit on the armband needle size because I picked up every stitch. So I just wanted to make it look really clean and even. So I went down. Also, couldn't find the 2.5. No, I couldn't find a 2 millimeter. So I went down. I used my stock needle, which is like a 175 or something. Again, I'll put the very, very specific details and the link in my bio, but or in my description. But yeah, this turned out gorgeous, and It is so soft and it's so pretty, and it was really fun to knit. So fun that I have already capped on the second one. So as far as my whips, so I'll go from oldest whip to newest whip with an honorable mention of a whip that kind of is on the like back burnerish, right? So my oldest whip is way back here. Hold on. Gonna be a mess. Hold on. I had lots of yarn involved. Alright, so four different skeins. So this is my where put this? Alright. So this is my oldest whip. This is my Ombre cardigan by Tanis Fiber Arts, who I think after watching her last two podcasts might have become my favorite designer at the moment. So I am knitting my Ombre cardigan. Tanis kind of has very similar style, like sweater style to what I like. She likes things that are a little bit like a little oversized. She likes necks. She likes slightly boxy, but not too boxy, and slightly longer. I mean, I think we're very close to the same age, which probably explains a lot of that. So this cardigan probably doesn't look like much. I will take pictures of it on my dress form. Oh, speaking of my dress form, I still need to think of a good name for her. That's like a Baltimore local. Not Hun. Yeah, I'll call her Hun. This is Hun, right? So Hun's the dress form. Is going to try this on for y'all, and I will get some B-roll. But this is my ombre cardigan, and I am knitting it in Neighborhood Fiber Co. Studio Sock in the color Blue Ridge and Valley, which is so interesting how different this looks in like the body versus the sleeves. Like the sleeves are slightly more stripy, slightly more yellow. I think it might just be a skein difference. But I don't mind. I really like that the color that I like the most, the red, is closer to my face and in the body. So yeah, and then I'm holding my Neighborhood Fiber Co. Studio Sock in Blue Ridge and Valley with the Lana Grossa Setasuri in the color Nougat to kind of soften it up a little bit, because I initially started knitting this cardigan with just the studio sock, and it was reading a little McDonald's for me, and I am a soft summer, so like muted, dusty, coolish tones are a little bit more my style. They look better on me. So specifically, my ombre cardigan, I am knitting this. I'm knitting the size 34. I am knitting them on a 5mm needle, and did you open the door? Oh my god. My cat figured out how to open the door. Hi, bud. You want help? Are you helping? Meow. Alright, this one. I hope he doesn't try to get at it. Right, so that is the size 34. So that's like the second size. And then I am the next oldest whip is I am knitting this one, which is on barber cord on both top and bottom. So I am knitting Anacortes test test knit sweater for Ishi Frazzetta, who is also here on YouTube and she has an adorable podcast. And also she just finished a cardigan in a similar-ish broken rib pattern that I am very anxious to have as well. So this sweater is, I'm knitting the second size, which is a 37.5-inch bust with a 2 to 4 inches of positive ease. Knitting this in Knitpicks. Cotlin, hi. Am I talking? No, you cannot. No, not on my knitting. Sorry, dude. Alright, in Knitpicks Cotlin. In the color, sir. And I am knitting it on a US 6 or 4mm knitting needle. So this test knit has gone really well. I haven't had any issues. It's kind of the thing for me. So I will say this is very much a me problem, but I have like a little bit of throwing out or what exactly? No, don't please. What exactly is going on? Like there's like more gaps in that section, and I'm not quite sure how to fix that. That is definitely a me thing, though. Not please don't. But I'm going to have to do some research on that because it just doesn't look quite as nice as I want it to, and I'm sure some of it has to do with being in Cotlin. But this is like the perfect. It feels like a really nice summer weight, like sweatshirt type thing. I'm looking forward to wearing it to like early morning yoga. But I have put, like I got to where I would do the ribbing on the hem. So I put on barber corks. I'm going to do the sleeves first and make sure that those are good before I like am absolutely certain on my length. I don't want to knit it too short. I can keep doing. So that is my Anacortes half knit sweater, and I'm knitting a long sleeve. So then one more that I have. Like 3 more. Anyway, right. So the next one is I am already knitting my second version of the Palm Springs cake. So my Palm Springs cake, this one I am knitting in a really fun, like rainbow fade style. Don't meow at me, dude. So this tank is in the I'm making a fade. It's sort of doing similar to the fade pattern that Summery talked about in her podcast for knitting faded socks. But I'm changing it up a bit because I'm not sure if I have enough yarn. I really want to make sure that I have enough to knit a second one in black. So this is half of my thing. But this sweater is I'm knitting the second size, which is, let's see, the size small for a 32 to 34 inch bust with 6 inches of negative ease, which really only gives me like 2 inches of negative ease, which is about what I want, right? No, it's not. Get down, please. Sorry, buddy. So I am knitting this on a US 4 or 3.5mm needles, which again, I really enjoy that Knit California and I have similar-ish. Roscoe, don't eat that, please. Similar gauge. It makes it really easy for me to Here. Yeah, come here. Come here. Now, come here. Okay. Maybe someone will behave now. Okay. So, yeah. So this one I am knitting in Knitpicks Stroll in Pearlescent Tonal, and I'm holding it with a special skein. This is from Republic of Yarnia, and this is their stained glass bundle. So I got this, and it also came with a black, and it's the merino stock base. So it's merino and nylon. So they're not too different. And I really like how this is working up, but I'm also very excited to see what my black one looks like when I get to that point. So that is my second Palm Springs tank. And I'm really enjoying it. It's very fun. Alright, so one more knitting, and then we'll talk about crochet, and then we'll be done for today. Alright, so this is what I am calling my hospital knit, my doctor's office knit. So this is a what do we call it? This is the petite knit Sophie hood, and I have a couple more sections to get to the part where we start actually doing the hood. So I'm still on the one side, but I am knitting this. I'm gonna say why I'm calling this my like hospital knit is it's very easy because it's garter, garter, so it's back and forth. You don't have to think about it too much. Basically, you do the same thing except every like sixth row. And also on top of that, it's the yarn I'm using for this squishes down to almost nothing, and I can easily put this in my purse. So this is like the kind of project that I can take anywhere. Whereas like the tank, which I love, the second color is a giant ball of yarn, and it doesn't squish down to much of anything. And it doesn't squish down much at all. There we go. So this is very petite Sophie hood. I'm knitting the smallest size. I am knitting it on a 6mm or US size 10 knitting needle, and then I'm really sure my yarn is off gauge. So this is blue, baby alpaca, merino, and where's the P? I forget. There's another yarn in here. There's another fiber in here. I can't remember what it is. And I am knitting. This is called denim blue, and it's a worsted weight, which I believe is off gauge, but I might be wrong. It's just I love alpaca. I'm pretty allergic to what's the other one, but not alpaca. I'm allergic to the other fluffy yarn, and at the moment I'm like blanking on what it's called. So I'm allergic to the not alpaca fluffy yarn, and it's also alpaca, and I really like it. And I very much hope this will be an easy wear project for me. This, I mean, it's April in Baltimore, and it is currently almost 80 degrees, so I do not need this. However, hospitals are really cold, so first of all, not making me too warm to hold on to this yarn, and it squishes up to next to nothing. So in my last couple of weeks of being hospitalized for multiple days, and like in the ER for 2 days, and waiting rooms and doctor's offices and all that, this has been a really good project because it's just been more mindless for me than even just been knitting in the round. So I have appreciated that. I will say this is my first ever petite knit, and I'm kind of underwhelmed so far. But I have a couple other patterns I'm gonna try, so maybe this is a fluke. But I will say the end product is lovely. And I like I definitely messed up in one spot on the I cord part of it. I got it backwards, like right about here. But otherwise, I have just really enjoyed this project. So that, and then finally, my final, very big, very heavy, holy crap, project. So this right here is my summer fade hexy blanket that I have been crocheting. And I don't have tons of it. I will put some pictures. But I'm knitting this in Heartland. So this is Lion brand, Heartland, in their National Parks colorways. So I have like 12 different colorways that I'm using. And then the in between yarn is Karen simply stuff, like the 1 pound. So it's all acrylic. Mostly because I don't like knitting with acrylic, but I don't mind crocheting with it for some reason. So this is what I've been working on since my dog got sick. So kind of there's a couple of things with this. Like I crochet primarily when I need something that I can pick up and put down a lot, or I need something that I can't, that I don't have to look at, or yes, I don't have to look at. So, and also, because I've been bedbound somewhat, this works really well for me because I can crochet in like a pretty reclined position, but for some reason I can't knit like that. It makes it really hard for me to breathe. So this has been my upstairs in bed project. And we're getting there. Like we've got 4 rows so far, and I'm just about to start the 5th. But I have started to run low on tech tea, so I need to make up a couple more. But I do think it's really pretty, and I am doing it a little bit off pattern. I am joining it is at in a join style from a different pattern because the hexy join, like the join as you go, was just not working for me. So I have a different granny square join that has like the little braid in between, and I think it's really cute. And also, I think it's going to look lovely when it's done, and I'm very excited to have it. But I'm gonna have to put it in a no cat room. So yeah, that is my summer fade hexy blanket. Whoops. And I mean, honestly, I would say that I am thinking about my next project, my summer project, but I'm not. I have a bit much on my needle at the moment. Like 1, 2, 3, 5 projects on the needle. Like honestly, my happy spot is 3, so 5 is pushing it. But one of those was definitely in hibernation for a while, and one of those we're getting there. Like I'm doing my sleeves 2 at a time, so I very much hope that 2 at a time sleeves will speed the process up a little bit. Oh yeah, so I just recently joined Nina Natty's Love and Stitches membership, and I do think that they are starting a summer shirt along, and for that I am planning on knitting Toy Use Queen Kiwi. I have 2 skeins of Dusty Yarn Co. stock, I believe, in the color Cousins, which is a really pretty dusty lilac purple color. So that is my next project when I get one of these off the needle. hopefully 2 of these. I mean, we'll just keep plugging along, right? Like, unfortunately, I had high hopes to be done with 2 of these by now, and things kind of went off the rails a bit, but what can you do? All right, so I really appreciated you joining me for my little podcast review, what I'm knitting in May. My name is Jennifer. I go by Here Her Hands Ouch on all platforms pretty much. You can find me under that on Discord, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on Ravelry. I think that might be it. I believe that's it. um, and I am a deaf disabled, chronically ill crafty person. um, yeah. So if you're interested in following along for more podcasts, I am sure I will be back next month with my update as to where these projects are standing at the minimum. So my goal is to upload the first Saturday. The first Saturday? No, probably the second Saturday of each month. In the morning by 10 a.m. at a minimum. But yeah, so if you're interested in hearing more and catching up with me next month, feel free to follow along. If you liked it, if you liked this video, I would love it if you would hit the like button or subscribe to my channel. Also, I'd love to hear about what you are working on or what your current focus knit is. What project are you working on the most? Or if you're like me and a chronically ill knitter who spends way too much time in medical offices, let me know what you consider your best office waiting room knitting project, right? Hey, nice. And until then, little buddy and I here would like to say thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again later. Bye.